Show. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a Notre Dame emerges victorious on Senior Day. There's a lot to like, and there's a lot not to like. And oh, by the way, Brian Kelly lost again. That's 3 in a row, folks. Edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish. Rat, Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. Ain't nobody going to blame you for that. The call-in lines. You know what it is. 312-988-15. You dialed up. Tell Uncle Yanni Boy all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by Sports Illustrated. Read all about it every day of your life. And don't forget about patreon.com/alwaysirish. He the former captain. He the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself and Jared Clark, 2 Notre Damers, breaking it all down. All right. Let's get into this. Just got done with the call-in show. I love how this works. I do the call-in show usually for 2 hours. For a bigger game with a lot more callers, I can stretch it 2.5 or 3. And it gives me a really good sampling of where the Notre Dame fan base is at. I get a bunch of different callers coming from different perspectives, have different opinions about the game and what we did good or bad. So then when I'm done with that and go to record this, it's just very helpful for me because I'm having in my mind all these different takes from the Notre Dame people, and I have a good sampling. And then I balance that out with what I think and what Pat thinks, what we discuss together, whatever. So here's where I think we're at. There's a lot not to like about the way Notre Dame finished this game, played this game, whatever you want to say. There's a lot you could complain about. What I'm going to say to you is it shows how good of a team you have when you have complaints and things that are bothering you that you're getting mad at or need to be cleaned up or you don't think are good enough and this and that and these numbers aren't good enough. When you win a ball game against a Power 4 opponent, 35-14, and then you have this list of things you're going to nitpick that you want to be better or whatever, that's a sign you're on the right track. That's a sign you have a good football team playing good ball. The way I look at it is it's almost a compliment that Notre Dame is playing good enough on this winning streak since week 2, every game since week 2. You're kicking the crap out of most of these teams. The games have not been close. What's been the closest game in forever? Louisville? Like, you're kicking the crap out of teams. It is a compliment to Freeman and his team that they are winning by enough in enough of these games that we could nitpick areas where they're not good enough to like make a playoff run and win the playoff or look at it as bigger picture. Do you get what I'm saying? We're beyond just, oh my gosh, I hope Notre Dame can beat Virginia. We're so far beyond that. We're looking at areas of our game that need to get tightened up to be able to compete in the 3rd round of the playoff. Right? So that's where I want to start with this. Senior Day was a great success. Borat, great success. You won. The winning streak's still alive. You're going to be in a good spot in the playoff ranking. All that stuff is great. But now people are looking at things you want to clean up if you want to get serious about making a playoff run. There's certain aspects of this team I don't think are going to get better. I don't know how much better you think the passing game's magically going to get. We're this many weeks into the season. I don't know what you change now. You might have to find a way to win and work around it. So that's kind of the start of this. Is it's a compliment that you have these complaints in a win like that. So that being said, Notre Dame's defense it's just really fantastic. Notre Dame's defense is fantastic. I'm telling you, when you started getting these injuries, and I'm going, when is the drop off going to come? When am I going to start noticing this team struggling on defense? It's been one of the rare times where the next man up has come in and done a really good job. I don't know. I mean, I keep waiting. When's the bottom going to drop out? It's not dropping out. Now, maybe you could say, John, not so fast. John, ultimate, not so fast, my friend. maybe you're going to say it's only because we're not playing anybody that good or whatever on offense that you haven't noticed or whatever. My comeback to anybody saying, you know what, John, this winning streak's all right, but we haven't really played anybody good, so I don't know what to think of it. My comeback to that initially would be, if you're not playing great teams, and again, I'm going to go to bat for Notre Dame and say it's not like we didn't try and schedule Miami and they backed out of it. It's not our fault. Florida State is garbage and USC has a bunch of losses. None of those are our fault. That would have made the complexion of this schedule look much different. None of those circumstances are our fault. But if you're playing these teams that are not considered to be that good, if you're good, then you win by margins that are not close, and that's what Notre Dame's doing. That's what you do against teams that are not that good. You don't barely sneak by. You beat them handedly, and that's what we're doing. This defense is doing a really good job. What did they cause? 5 turnovers in the first half. I mean, that's pretty much the game. Welcome back to Notre Dame, Chris Tyree. That's a rough day. That's a rough comeback. That's a bad start. And you know what's funny about it? The only reason he fumbled that is because we're so bad at place kicking now, he had to run up 30 yards to try and catch it. That's the irony that I doubt that was intentional. I think the only reason he fumbled that is because our kicking's so bad right now, he had to run up full speed because it was such a weak kick. And it ended up working out for us. Oh, man, that's great. So, anyways, our kicking's a problem. I want to brag about the defense, but while I brought up kicking, what the hell are you doing? How many kickers you got? Place kick 2 or 3, and none of them can make anything? Listen, this team has fought back too hard from what happened week 2 to get into this position for some dork kicker to ruin it all. If none of them can make kicks consistently, screw it. We will go for it on 4th down every time. But make it a plan ahead so when you're doing the play sheet, you know you have 2 downs on 3rd and 4th. I'm not letting some dork kicker who only has one job to fail and let everybody else down, that's been getting their head kicked in and bruised and battered all these weeks playing all these physical snaps for some dork kicker to ruin it all. No. Screw you. We'll go for it on 4th every time then. Anyways, so I don't know what's going on with that, but it ain't good enough. And I swear to God, if some lame nerd kicker blows the season for us, I'm going to have an aneurysm live on the air. So you better either figure it out or go for it every 4th down. I don't care which, but what we're doing now ain't good enough. So good for the Notre Dame defense. 5 turnovers. You're causing short fields, whatever. Even Notre Dame's offense can score on that, like whatever. Notre Dame's defense is the real deal. As X Watts is just so good. That secondary so fun to play. They had another thing on the scoreboard, number 1 efficiency defense in coverage. Notre Dame, this is a really, really good defense. And so the question you have as a Notre Dame fan is how far could this elite defense, Love, Price, and Leonard's legs, carry you in the playoff? Is that not that's my main question right now. How far can the elite defense, Love, Price, and Riley Leonard's legs carry you in the playoff? And the reason I'm bringing that up is that's about all I could trust. A part of me thinks you're going to actually have some sort of passing game at some point to navigate this playoff and make a deep run. And I don't know if we have it in us. So I don't know whether I should worry about that now or just keep winning these games and worry about it when I'm in that situation and not worry about it now or what. But it's on my radar as a problem. Can't get enough unfiltered Notre Dame football talk? Be sure to go over to patreon.com/alwaysirish. Former captain Mike Goolsby and myself. Do that. Screw it.
Oh, he never won anything. It's been 30 years.
It's on my radar as a problem. Okay. So, dude, 3rd down efficiency. Notre Dame's 1 of 12 against Virginia. Are you outside your mind? This is Virginia, not Georgia. And you're going 1 of 12 on 3rd downs? 3 of 4 on fourth downs. That's better. But the third down thing, yeah, you're 1 of 12. You know why? Because you're like in 3rd and 18 every time. And you still almost got to what, 450 yards? Man, 234 rushing. It didn't totally feel like it. Passing, 214. It didn't feel like that either. Now that I'm looking at these numbers, almost 100 yards in penalties, 9 penalties. Woof. So, and listen, the officiating's been bad all year, all across college football. It's just been a joke. These guys just either they want to make it all about them or they need to go have more training. It's just not been a smooth operation around the country with these guys. All year, I feel like it's been a problem, not just with Notre Dame, but all over. And so you're kicking the crap out of these teams, but there's these little, I don't want to say little, but there's these inefficiencies you see to where you're like, what kind of real playoff run can Notre Dame make being that bad on third down, having that many penalties, struggling to pass the ball at times? You had some drops, wide receiver, you had a handful of drops today. You had 2 70-plus yard touchdown plays taken off the board. And I do not blame Freeman at all. Listen, you want to talk about the maturation process of a head coach. Freeman went to the officiating crew before the game and said, listen, guys, if we're in a punting situation and you see something weird happen and we run a weird play, here's what it is so you don't have to process it in the moment. I'm telling you what we're going to do, that it's legal and what's going to happen so it doesn't like blow your mind and you throw a flag just because it looks weird to you. He went over it and they said, yeah, it sounds fine. He did it exactly how they said it, and then they called the penalty on it. I don't blame Freeman for losing his mind. But you had 2 plays of 70-plus yards off the board for penalties. Just 3rd and 22s, 3rd and 16s, 3rd and 18. You had drops. Like, it's just some of it's very, very frustrating. I know people are mad we didn't cover the spread. People are mad that they got to score again, that they scored a touchdown and an extra touchdown in garbage time, and that we didn't score an extra touchdown, and you got to, like, try and impress the committee and all this stuff. Like, I get all this. It's just, I'm of 2 different minds here. One is it's a really good sign Notre Dame's winning by this much, and we could complain about these things and nitpick them in victories that aren't even that competitive. That is a great sign of where you're at. But I do, on the other hand, say I agree with what Pat said in the beginning of the call-in show. John, forget the playoff. You may not beat Army if you play this sloppy next week. Not the defense, but everything else, the special teams and all the penalties and drops in the pass game, being in 3rd in a million, 1 of 12 on third downs. Like, you're not beating Army if you do that next week. You're not beating, unless the defense can have pitch shutout, or you're not beating Army. Forget the playoff, Georgia, Tennessee, whatever, Oregon. You ain't going to beat Navy if you do this. So that's where you're like in a weird space where you're like, dude, I love this. You won by a lot. My blood pressure wasn't shooting through the roof. But you're like, you may lose. You literally may lose to Army if you play like this next week. So it's got you in a weird, you're in a weird place. So I see both sides of it. And I just think it's a compliment and a luxury to be able to complain about these things in this way with this big, long winning streaks. You're spot in the playoff right there as long as you keep winning. But it's perfectly fine to say it was just some of this was sloppy, especially offensively with the penalties, the special teams, whatever. Bad on third downs. So that's kind of where I'm at, you guys. Really, really happy with the win. The defense is a joy and a pleasure to watch every single week. They're playing fantastic. It looks like there's 13 of our guys running around out there sometimes. It's really, really been enjoyable to watch. But I do understand it is natural for Notre Dame fans to wonder, if you're doing it this way, not only, can you assume you're able to beat Army and SC? It's normal to wonder, how far can Notre Dame go in a playoff with a great defense, Love, Price, Leonard's legs, and that's about it? Some of that may depend on the draw you get and the bracket you're in. That's the other thing, you guys. I'm not trying to get too far ahead of us. Army's not going to be an easy game. Neither is Southern Cal. What I'm saying is the bracket and the draw of all this could make or break you, man. Notre Dame could end up with the draw with an easier home game, a manageable round 2 game, setting them up for the third round of this thing. Or you could have Georgia round 1 or something. It could be that seeding in those brackets just have so much to do with it in college football. I don't look at it the same as like college basketball, where almost like anybody could beat anybody and it's more likely. So there's a huge variance there. So how far Notre Dame could go operating this way, I don't know. Here's the last thing I want to bring up. Do you believe there's another gear at another level to Notre Dame's offense, especially the passing offense? Do you think that there's like another gear we could reach? Or are you just like, dude, we're entering week 11, game 11. We are what we are. You got to work around it, kind of. Notre Dame doesn't have an alpha receiver, man. You don't have a dude. You don't even have one. Forget having multiple. You don't have one dude that like another team's totally scared of or anything. Either a big, tall guy or a speedster little guy that anybody's really scared of. So Notre Dame's still in a bad spot with this wide receiver thing. I don't know what it's going to take to turn it around, but it's really, really frustrating. And you just wonder what the cap is on this team operating this way. At some point, are you going to need to have a real-world passing offense to win these games? I don't know. But I know if I'm going to complain about it, I want to do it when you have a 35-14 win, and then I can complain. This is a modern luxury. It's a modern luxury. But listen, I'm in a good mood, man. Notre Dame won 35-14. Brian Kelly's on a 3-game losing streak. That's a good Saturday for Johnny Boy. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.